Hello guys, today we're going to be doing a educational commentary for max gear players. And then this is going to be a first kill count guide, so we're going to be downgrading a little bit of gear. So I'm going to opt to downgrade the Shadow to a Sanguinesti staff. I like to do this on my regular runs anyway. It's not that crazy of a time loss, because you'll have to two-shot Berserkers, which is a little bit dangerous, but you'll get in return 3 extra inventory slots. Completely up to you. At some point I'll have to also use a 4-way Shadow if I want to get better at the runs anyway, but it doesn't really matter. Venerable, definitely one of the best ones for one-shotting majors with just a 1-way swap. And then Scythe is definitely best to use with Alter and Primordials, but alternatively you can try the Bellator Echo setup if you want a little bit more defense and prayer bonus. Not too much loss. DPS is somewhere between 1 to 3.5% for most mobs. I recommend about 9 restores in total. So I'm going to do 8 restores in a Sandfew. Sandfew being for if we have to take bees at the very end. We're going to try to avoid Manti Mayhem. It's not that great of an invocation for first timers, and I don't really recommend it. It's pretty difficult just because level 1 is very punishing. Rapier mostly used for swiftly dealing with Fremnik Rangers, but you can also technically take your time, kill them slowly with a God Sword. You can use a Fang instead, but primarily this one-handed weapon is for killing 1-by-1 majors. Alright, that's pretty much it. Let's pre-pot and let's get in. I'll be uncharging my Sanguinesti staff to get blood runes from my room pouch. I really don't think that taking Ancients is worth your time. I think it's bait and it just takes too long. Healing and blood barraging, it's not really worth it in this kind of raid. Also, it's only 11 waves compared to like Inferno 60, so supply drain is not really that big of an issue regardless. Now this tile over yonder that I'm standing next to, I'm pretty sure this is the B5 tile, it might be a different one, but if you stand here, no other monsters can spawn right next to you, so the rate of getting things spawning over here is not that, not that bad. Conversely, you can also go over here, that'll also work, and you can use that for the south pillar. Actually, it might be like over here, 1, 2, whatever. But if you are moving on the same tick that the monsters spawn, you can get behind the pillars before any of the monsters can see you. Practice this timing. If you walk over here and talk to Minimus, as soon as I press continue, it'll be 5 ticks after this timer. You can use something like a tick counter, visual metronome, although I don't really like how it looks, whatever you want to do. You can feel it out, and that'll prevent all monsters from spawning next to you. Fremniks will always spawn in this center-ish area, just be ready to start blasting them. Do be careful not to drag yourself out of any of these kind of zones when you are dealing with Fremniks, otherwise you're going to be exposing yourself to all the other threats in the Colosseum. Let's go ahead and start. Wave 1 is just kind of, filler. You'll get 1 mage just to kind of warm you up. So go ahead and use the combat triangle against the Fremniks. This is the typical standard order you want to be killing them in. The Melior first, as he's the most threatening, has the highest max hit, followed by the Major because Venerable needs something to bounce off. Lastly, the Ranger because you can heal off of SGS or stab him, whatever you use. Of these invocations, I'm not going to go over a full breakdown. Solar Flare is the best one because we're more likely to take this to level 3 than Frailty. Now, Frailty is also good because we want to take Frailty to level 2 for most runs. 3 I wouldn't recommend until after you've gotten your first kill count. This one has a Ranger, so let's go ahead and pray that. And you want to always have your prayer window open at the start of waves because you want to be able to adapt to whatever spawns and pray against it accordingly. Now, this is a simple solve. We have a 2-sack. You want to stand close melee distance, pray against the back threat, and then click the forward threat. Make it a habit to control click when you're running out like that. Manticores, it actually doesn't matter, but for other mobs, if you see, you'll actually run underneath them if you don't do this. And why is that a problem? So like here, you see how I run there for just a tick, right? That is a problem because in later waves, you'll have monsters potentially stuck behind here. And when you run out like that, you expose yourself for a split second to whatever threat that may be. Now, luckily, you don't need to be too spuddy on flicks on your runs. Just focusing on your offenses is fine. And also 9 is probably enough to not even need to do that, but we'll do it anyway. Offensive drain a lot more than regulars, so, you know, regular overheads. This one will have 2 rangers. Of these 2, I believe Blasphemy is less of an inconvenience for you than Solar Flare, so let's do that. Not great for the glory, but... You see, I'm ready to switch to Mage. Actually, I shouldn't be out here because I'm going to get Maged. Oh, sucks. Alright. This could be worse. The Mage can hit up to 28, so I'm just going to double claw him, get him out of the way. Now he's dead, we can Blood Fury up. I wasn't really afraid that he'll kill me because it'll take forever, but just that he'll drain my prayer if I don't act quickly. In Colosseum, I believe Colosseum waves individually are harder than Inferno waves, but you also get only like 11 of them. Obviously, compared to like, you know, 60 Inferno waves. So you get burned out a lot more in Inferno than in Prey range. Humble? Not humble. Deserved. Let's go ahead and Scythe this guy to death. It's better than Rapier. So we get 2 hit splats. The monsters in Colosseum aren't particularly weak to any particular style other than the boss, which is Slash. So wave 4, we're going to get a Manticore and a Major. You can use the Fortis Colosseum plugin to tell you what's going to spawn. Relentless is not something you really want to run for your first cape. In my opinion, level 1 is fine for the late waves, but otherwise I wouldn't really run it unless you're really forced to. Blasphemy 3 is better in this case because we get to open up the invocation pool. The S tier one that we're currently hunting for is going to be Myopia, because we're going to take that in every single run. So I'm going to hide from the Major here. And it's more simple to pray against the Major here than the Manticore, so we're going to go ahead and stick on this side. You can see rotating like this is a good thing you can do. Oops. Oh, I stood on it too long. I thought I'd move past it. You can also mark Solar Flare if you want to, but I don't like how it looks. Now, starting from wave 4 onwards, the reinforcements will have a Major included in them as well. So what we can do is just wait here for the Major to spawn. No mages. And now they're off-ticked. Reinforcements always spawn 40 seconds after the wave spawns. You can use a timer, you can use the Fortis Colosseum, which tells you the wave splits. Now, if you're doing a melee only setup, you see we have a problem here with the lure closer. You'll have to step on the other side just like so. Wave 5 and 6 are one of the more dangerous waves. I implore you, if you're not that experienced in getting to the later waves, in this situation, I would brew. Because you would rather start off the wave strong than have to be forced to SGS later. Blood Fury ended up healing us anyway, so it didn't really matter. But I'm a bit more experienced, so having claws means you can meet DPS checks and kill main threats before the reinforcements spawn. Typically, being able to kill at least one threat before reinforcement spawns is going to make your life so much easier. Realty is best. We'll level up to level 2. Don't need to pray against the Ranger here because I was on time. If I felt as if I was late, then yes, I would probably pray range there. Well, I probably should pray melee, but alright, so we got low because we didn't move correctly. So we'll heal off the Ranger as such. And in this case, if you're waiting, if you want to be more patient, you can just wait for reinforcements and not unproc Manticores. But in this case, I don't want to make you guys sit here waiting all day watching me do that, so let's go ahead and start. In this case, it was range, so we're chilling. In case this was a mage Manticore, I could always wrap around to the other side. Be careful not to attack the shaman, this Jaguar warrior too quickly, as when this guy's traveling down, he'll often be able to see you somewhere along this line if you click too early. Let him get into that little cubby there, whether it's behind the Minotaur or the Jaguar warrior. If this was a mage Manticore, I would click this Serpent Shaman instead. So I had a plan regardless. And this is a convenient way to get around Solar Flare. Now you can shuffle these guys by just moving back and forth like that. It'll kind of make them look, you know, nice and dandy. The Manticore won't be able to see around this corner, but there are instances where they can see around the corners. If you ever have a Serpent Shaman standing over there and the Manticore's over here, it will be able to spot you. So you have to make sure you time your attacks in a way that works out for the Manticore. So let the mage attack and then click the Manticore shortly after. Manticore is an okay NPC just to click like that if there was something there, but the Ranger and Major are not. Because Ranger and Major move a little bit slower. So, or actually no, sorry, they move a little bit faster for some reason. So what ends up happening is, let's kill this guy. They'll be registered on this tile a little bit faster. So if I just clicked him just like that, it's gonna make me actually run under by these line markers, and whatever's trapped there east will be able to see me. So make sure you either just slow down a little bit once you reach here by control clicking the monster is the easiest way, or you can just purposely just wait until you set up your flicks. Either way works. Quartet is one of the more dangerous invocations. Reason being, the Fremniks that spawn have built-in Relentless on them, like level 3 Relentless. They ignore all defense checks. So having especially a double Berserker set with a Sanguine SC is not ideal. If you have Shadow, it's still pretty dangerous because you'll probably potentially get stabbed by at least one of them. Potentially, depending how your movement is. Regardless, it is a C tier invocation. We still don't have Myopia, so let's take it. Because we don't really want to put more points into the upgradables that we've already invested into for the long term. We're gonna definitely get Frailty 2 and maybe Solar Flare 2 and 3, but we would prefer not to. So let's go ahead and keep opening up the pool. Let's take Quartet. So I'm late here, so I'm gonna need to pray range. Might take this mage. You see here, you want to pray and then deal with your Fremniks. You might be wondering, Reynold, what the fuck would you do if this was a Mage Manticore? And that's where you would learn A and B off-ticking, or hold on, I'm trying to survive. Or I would pray Mage in this case and stand here for a second with my Din's Bulwark out. Now let's slowly take care of this. I'm not sure of the timing, so let's go ahead and just slow down a little bit. Pause. Remember, with this Jaguar, we can't stand over here. If we stand over there, it'll release him. So we're gonna be very... let's not kill him, actually. He's still a non-threat right now. Okay. We're always ready to eat here. I released that guy at a bad timing, but it's fine. This is one of the main trade-offs for having a melee only setup, although I can yak and I'm okay with brewing there and stuff. The solves get a little bit trickier, but I think it's worthwhile. I didn't learn my lesson, and you see I clicked out here instead of walking a little bit closer toward it, luring it out more properly. And of course I paid the price by getting mage there. Okay. Wave 7 is one of the freest waves because you have either one mage, one range, or the Manticore. You just want to go on the not Manticore side. Dynamic Duo is one you want to generally avoid because although sometimes the solves are the same, if you do ever have to rotate the solves will get kind of tricky. So let's go ahead and avoid that. Let's do Frailty 2. Don't need to pray against anything in this case, so let's pray melee, the biggest threat, followed by whatever's most numerous. And then if we need HP like we do now, we'll go ahead and SGS to Ranger. Now, if we approach this stack from the north side, we'll have to kill... we'll have to deal with this Ranger. Now that's fine. Anything stuck behind that will be on the second tick of the first stack. So in this order, we'll pray Mage and then Range as an example. The main issue lies with whatever this Manticore is. Going on this side is much safer because we don't have to deal with the Ranger at all. And then we can deal with it as a same tick stack, just flying out this way, or an off tick stack flying out like this. Regardless, the Minotaur will heal monsters, and we may not be able to reach the DPS check for some of these monsters. The Major is very easy to meet the DPS check for. He is one of the squishiest monsters if you have a Scythe. Now the Manticore is okay to run out and click, but if this was a reverse order where the Major was in front, I would not click him right away. I would walk toward him. Regardless, let's show you how it's done. Against a back threat, then control click, and this way this will prevent him from spotting you. In this case, he's a mage, so I don't really need to move. And then you can just move back, be patient with the solar flare. This costs more time. Alternatively, if you want to save some more time, be generally faster in your runs. Between hits and prayers, when you're comfortable, you can do a shift click underneath them so you can run out and stay aligned with this pillar so that the Ranger doesn't see you. Like such. And this will prevent the Ranger from seeing you as well. Just be careful, let the monsters like shift around a bit before you decide. Now you can start far away from the spawn tile, but make sure right as you kill the monster, start running toward the spawn tile. Well, it's still not a good choice. It's either Frailty 3 or Soul Flare 2. Soul Flare 2 is the best choice that, especially for learners, don't want to have too low HP. And you see, I didn't spec there, although I had the option to. Reason being, if you have a free wave, it's best for your first KC to save it for Claws or SGS, and always be able to try to have a higher likelihood of meeting DPS checks or, more HP as needed. So that was a free wave. I wasn't going to claw either way. We'll make it in time for the range spray. And if you make it on this line fast enough, you see those threats typically will shift over to this pillar. In this case, we'll need the HP. Watch out for his javelin throw. Now to lure him closer, we just need to pray range here and bring him close. Don't ever bother for your first KC to fight these guys. Always try to kill these guys first. It doesn't really matter too much at this point whether we kill them fast or slow, because this is pre-wave 10. The Minotaur will get safe spotted here. You can also dodge solar flares over here. So we have as much time as we want to kill this one threat. If this was multiple threats, then sure, maybe for the sake of you not making mistakes long term, you could focus on clawing him, but now it's already solved. No need to claw this guy. Let's wait until next wave, see what happens, see if we need it. Okay, now when you have a Minotaur stuck like this, it's very easy to lure him out by just running that way. Do plan how you want the setup. If you walk out, this guy won't see until the second tick. So, for example here, he doesn't even see me. He'll see me on that second tick. Do I want him to see me on that second mage tick? No. Will it be fine in this case? Yes, but often you don't really want to plan for that. You'd rather have them on the same tick. So let's go ahead and run out. That'll expose us both to this range shit, and then we can pray against the Manticore, and then pray against the Javelin, and then pray melee as we run back. Now, we're probably going to make it back before the javelin even is able to fire another shot, but... like so. Now we have a Minotaur easily lured out. Now from this point on, the easiest solve is simply to go diag like this and fight this stack because they're on same tick, and we don't need to deal with Solar Flare. If that wasn't an option, if let's say this was a major and this was a ranger or whatever, and I can't fly out the side, then this is a typical 2-in-1 stack. When you have 2-in-1, normally when we have a regular 2 stack, we want to fly out here, you know, like this for an offtick. This case, it doesn't work. We want to stand 1 away because there's 2 in the front. This ranger is blocking the major from shifting a little bit. The order is actually going to be the major attacks first and then the manticore. So this is a very basic solve. You should try to memorize. You're going to be using this solve plenty of times, whether you're rotating from pillars to make solves easier or just to fight them. So you can do it like this. Just like so. We'll show it one more time. And then we'll show how to use knowing the solves to make it mechanically easier for your first game. So that's the regular solve. Probably Prey Mage on the way out. It's probably going to clap me. Now, we can employ this tactic by using the same solve, but just sprinting it south. And that'll split up the stacks to a more mechanically easier option. I don't even need to pray against Manticore on the way out. And this will split up the stack, so you just have to fight 1v1s. And you can decide which 1v1's easier. In this case, we can't fight those two, so we'll fight the Manticore. Now, moving south... has some other advantages as well. Any monster that's... if you have just one monster walking down toward you like this, you can actually corner safe spot him by standing here, and he'll get stuck. And that's like a free way to deal with reinforcements as well. I'll try to show it in the next wave. I'm gonna go to the non-leaning side, pray against the back one. The back one will attack first. Myopia is S tier. We're gonna get this to level 3. No threats, pray melee, so you don't get stanked. Don't get shanked. Once the meleeers are dead, pray against whatever. Now, if the manticores haven't been procced and you ran successfully, keep them that way, in my opinion. It's easiest. Just deal with whatever's next. Yeah, we're kind of just going to sit on 100% spec for the whole run, I guess. It's fine, though. And you see, I'm always leaning on this side to make it so that the stacks, in case they're larger, don't impede the Minotaur's base path. In case this is wave 10 or 11, make sure you're praying mage as well, because the major will be able to see you off the rip. Now, this wave is already solved. No matter what you do, this wave's already solved. I can fly out here. If this is range, then we're chilling. We just have to fight on tick. We could fight this side even. Doesn't really matter. Although we will have to flank 2 manticores in that case, so let's avoid that. Alternatively, if this is a mage and we want off tick, we can fly out this way. Manticore's easy to click right away, but if this was the ranger, then we might want to control click so he doesn't see us, right? Now, let's use that tactic to show you how to corner trap something as well, just so I can show you for reference in case you ever need it. Not every run is going to be the same. It'd be best for me to show you as many tactics as possible. You can see the far threat even blocks this guy, but the problem is you can't see him now, so you have to drag him around the corner. No particular reason I'm fighting this guy. No particular reason. But it's good for you guys to see visualize how stacks develop once you're moving them around. The different pillars to make things simpler for you. Now we can also just fight the monster most convenient for Solar Flare. In this case, it's the Ranger. You see, if you can make it more convenient for yourself, path away from the Solar Flare, do so, less mechanical stress. Re-entry is fine for wave 10 and 11, but if Myopia is over here, we're obviously taking Myopia. And 11 will have majors. Sorry, 11 will have majors. 10 has nothing. I forgot. We're praying it's just a Manticore looks like. Go ahead and pre-click the Seer while we get our Manticore ready. We pre-clicked the wrong one. And you see, I didn't SGS, although I did kind of need the HP at the time. Wave 10, 11, the DPS checks are much more strict. You want to make sure you definitely reach them no matter what. If I don't think I'm going to reach this one by the time that major spawns, I am going to claw this guy again. Looks like it's going to happen. No, we're good. If this was a noodle slice, I would have though. That was a mistake. We'll eat. I misclicked. Now, this happens a lot on wave 10, or even 5 and 6, whatever. If you have a 1x1 shaman in this specific spot, no need to kill him. If this threat is solved, you're chilling. The problem is, you don't know if this Manticore is going to be major range. So if I run out right now, this Ranger will be able to see me first take, because the Shaman's preventing him from moving a little bit more. Now we have a problem, because this Manticore is mage, and they are going to be same tick. So in this case, what you can also do is abuse the low attack range of the Shaman and fly out far away like this, pray against whatever sees you right away, whether that may be an extra stack, and then pray against the Shaman later as you run toward it. Now, you see the other problem is that this guy gets shifted closer. So that's a pain in the ass. What we can do is make the stack simpler. We can pray against, we can sign up for basically one mage attack if we pray ranged here, or 2 ticks, and then melee for the last one. And this is the easiest way to simplify the stack. I should have ran even farther away. I didn't think the major would be able to see me. And if I want to stop this guy from being able to see me, this is a really good example from the last time I wanted to show. I'd stand here and block him off. Now, this is only really useful if you want the Minotaur to come through, but I don't in this case. If you want to not unstuck him, you want to run out like that. But in this case, it'll unstuck him, and now I have to deal with him. If I had a re-entry, I'd be more careful and more mindful about where I'm standing. I will just 1v1 this guy. As you get more advanced with these solves, you want to avoid using this pillar to mechanically make things easier as much as you can, but it's completely up to you. If you don't mind the time loss, that's fine too. Like, as for an example, I don't really mind a time loss, so I do it all the time. You don't even need to flick this guy. I have a lot of restore here. But I'm kind of doing it because I'm bored. Now, actually, I think restoring there was a mistake because I don't really have that much HP. Oh, never mind, it worked out. But if I didn't Blood Fairy heal right there for a billion, I was gonna brute because I would like to start off wave 11 very strong and not need the SGS. Definitely having double claws is better there. So I mean, in this case we're fine, but Soul Flare 3 is better. Relentless is actually not bad here either. Honestly, it's pretty preference at this point. I'm gonna go Relentless because Soul Flare 3 is pretty painful for the boss if you don't have your tiles marked, and it's very easy as a learner to forget which tiles are marked. Heck, even I forget because I want to keep them very faint. Let's just go Relentless and, you know, lose a little bit of defense. Majors do spawn. Misclicked. Now in this case, if the Manticore was still able to see me, you can see if he's ranged or mage. Now, it doesn't really matter if he was ranged in this case because the ranger is on the other side. The ranger will be able to see me, so watch out. Before these guys finish charging up, no matter what, you can be able to wrap around the corner and fight your major. And if this was a not major, you can always double claw him here to secure the DPS kill before this major and Minotaur spawn. And the reason, no matter what, it was going to work out for me. Oh, so this one's a little bit annoying. So if you don't have red flag, the Serpent Shaman's actually going to prevent the Minotaur from being able to move. And this obviously sucks because you don't really want to fly out here and risk potentially messing up and dying here to lure this guy out, right? Scythe specific illegal solve, you can actually Scythe the Shaman and it will slowly kill the Minotaur. Now, if you don't have Solar Flare, you don't even need to dodge and you can actually just kill it. But in this case, if let's say you have Solar Flare 3 and you don't want to take that much damage, you're just moving back and forth. He's going to heal him over and over and over, just like so. And then you have an infinite HP Shaman to train Strength with. But if you see, I'm actually splashing this Minotaur with the Scythe and slowly whittling him down. Now, with Solar Flare 2, I obviously don't need to do that. I'm just going to poke him. But if you ever get stuck in a scenario where you have to, you know, deal with this guy in a melee only setup, that is a way if you have Scythe. Now, these are just on ticks, so we can go ahead and fight them. But remember, if you don't need to, you want to make it simpler, you can run south if you have it already solved. In this case, it's already solved. I just need to come out and pray against the Manticores. The Ranger will line up the same tick. Then we can just take free 1v1s, lower the stack. But remember, this is not something you want to do for long-term KC. Just really good for your first kills. Although if you want to do it for your first 30 kills or whatever it takes to bless your quiver, be the boss. Do whatever you want. I ain't the boss of you. You are the boss. Okay. So we want on tick here. So in this case, let's just, you know, fight them here. More convenient. But in case some of you guys didn't understand what I meant by it doesn't really matter for that setup, no matter what, the wave is solved. The reason is... Hold on. Let me just go ahead and kill them. Because I can't really think and pray at the same time. Okay. So with 2 Manticores and a Mage and a Ranger, the wave is always solved no matter what. Wave 11 is actually very freeze particular. Because if you have a Manticore with a Ranger, either they're same tick and you're praying against them, or they're off tick and you can use A and B. If you can't use A and B like I can't, then what you can also do is go to the other side. The other side will have a Manticore and a Major, which in that case, now they're on tick because you had a Major on the other side, right? So no matter what, you have an on-tick side, and for this side, if you'd rather them fight this side and have them off-ticked, because let's say you have red flag or something, you can go on this side and then off-tick them later. So no matter what, wave 11's free, if you see it that way. Now, the problem is when you add in that dynamic duo, it can kind of shift these guys a little bit to make it harder to like off-tick or whatever, or you might have like a mage and a ranger somehow. So that's why I don't personally take dynamic. But you also have your panic button with pray mage thins. Make sure if you're doing a panic button, pray mage thins kind of strategy, you do protect mage and piety always. Piety is a lot of defense or augury, whatever you want to use. Now we have quartet, so make sure you remember that's going to be in the start. We're going to start by killing the quartet guy. Let's also get our prayer up so we don't get smited. Anti-Mayhem's obviously free. I don't think they meant to offer this, but Relentless would be a good option as well. Doom level 1 is also a fine option for your first kill. Level 1 Doom is roughly about 4 brews of mistakes, depending on how many pulls you take. Anti-Mayhem is a non-impact one. Let's go ahead and start. We'll claw the boss because it's a little bit more tick efficient, but if I had hammer, I would do that too. Either way works. And then we'll take care of the quartet after the next Scythe. You can choose to use any middle or diag patterns you want. Regardless, you have a safe spot after every attack. So here, he always starts spear 1, so we can always dodge back and to do a diagonal dodge after. That's spear 2. If we're doing the diagonal strat after any number 2, 1 back. After shield 1, always 2 back. After spear 1, you can go 2 to the side. Solves both spear 2 and whatever. After pulls, you can always do an L actually out of the boss, not that tile, this tile, and it'll dodge both spear 1 and spear 2. That was spear 2, so in this case I'll just move 1 back. The first parry is always the same tick as if when he would have slammed, if you want to use that as a tip. Let's use the middle tiles. We'll do center 2 in this case after spear 1, shield 1. So you can do that L attack if you want after pulls. He has to do a spear attack after that. That was spear 1, so we'll move here. Now shield 1, so we need to move 2 back. Center 1. So I know both methods, but you can do whatever method makes you more comfortable. I like to mix it up because it's fun. So after pulls, I don't remember what he was. Well, in this case, he's spear 1, but you never would have known that, right? Let's say you forgot he'd need to do 2 center. Well, we won't greed the ticks. And I'm picking kind of like where I'm protecting. I'll need to pre-dodge. That's spear 1. We can go to here or go over here. As of when he would have slammed. Use the same timing for enraged parry, except switch out the third prayer for redemption, and then pray melee afterwards. Once you see it come up on your screen. That's a good way to time it. This is only 1 tick later. We can use L-Tech, so we forgot. That was spear 2. So we'll do, oh, over here. That'll be spear 1. So use whatever method makes you most comfortable. Calls are best used on not enraged. L-Tech this way. And that'll dodge both spear 1, spear 2. There you go, chillin'. Obviously, we take way longer than we normally do for the commentary purposes, but I hope that kind of helped you guys. You can use whatever method makes you more comfortable. You don't need to do corner, you don't need to do middle, but the way you should see it is after X attack, these safe spots have now opened up, and that's how you should always treat it. So after spear 1, if you're fighting center, always move 1 back. Sorry, after spear 1, always move 1 diagonal. my bad. And then after spear 2, always do center 1. After shield 2, center 1. And that'll solve both shield 1 and spear 1. So learn both methods. You can watch a bunch of videos, other people doing the kills, use a soul simulator, try out all the patterns you want. Soul simulator doesn't work for diags though, so completely up to you on that one. My other video, the chonker dodge one, also explains a little bit more in depth on the center dodge. I will leave the safe spots also described for both the middle and the corner methods in the description of this video if you want to review them. I highly recommend, someone recommended, when you watch a boss fight, hold shift and click or predict what tiles are safe spots And you can hold shift so you don't pause the video when you actually click on it. Now, do whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me. But that's how you should visualize the boss long term to be able to dodge at any time. Oh, juicy. Anyway, have a good night. I hope that helped you guys. Best of luck on your first quivers.